guys, it's ASBYT and welcome back to a brand new video. Now this is one of the strangest videos I've ever done because today we're talking about products which I've received and have kind of left on the scrap heap up until now, and not because they're not good products. I just haven't been able to get round to doing them. This is one of the biggest hauls I've ever done on the channel. We've got smartphones, we've got Android boxes, we've got Bluetooth wireless keyboards, 4K action cameras, Android and Windows tablets as well. And the Android tablet has a 2K display. Unreal. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Right, so because there are so many products on this table here, I'm going to be doing the unboxings very, very quickly. If you do want more information on any of these products, please feel free to go in the comment section below and let me know. I will also leave the links to all of these products in the video description below, so you can go through and check out in more detail if you so wish. So the first product we have today is this one here, the U.S.A Power 3, and this has been a very, very popular product. I've always wanted to do that. Don't know why. It's been a very, very popular product for people who love a massive battery in a pretty nice looking device. So what I'll do is I'll power it on. I'll take the case off because you don't want to see that. It's got a dual rear camera, 21 megapixel and 5 megapixel, 18:9 ratioed screen, 6 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage, fingerprint sensor on the back, MT6763 octa-core processor, 6-inch full HD display. We'll skip one, Android 7.1, and then we'll go back because this is the big selling point, a 6080 milliamp battery for a smartphone that costs under $250 US, I think is really impressive. So in this budget area, nice vibrant display. The same can be said for the touch responsiveness. Again, without going into too much detail, it is a really, really solid phone for the price. Looking at the back, nice design, nice sort of silver accents around the antenna bands with the matte black finish, similar to the OnePlus 5T look with the matte black. Dual camera, fingerprint sensor underneath, might be a little bit close to the lens for me. You might smudge it a few times. I would prefer the actual fingerprint sensor to be there, not a deal breaker. And remember, the 6000 milliamp battery is a big, big plus. And certainly one that you might want to look at if you're in the market for a mid to budget product. Right, moving on, we are going to go with the Bluetooth Mini keyboard, and this comes hand in hand with this Android box. Both of these come together for around $60 US. You can work that out in pounds or wherever you're from, because my currency conversions are always awful. Link will be left below, don't worry. So of course, it's a pretty nice design. If we look on the side, we've got an SD, MMC, USB 1, 2, and 3, so 3 USB ports. We've also got a 4th USB port on the other side. We've got SPDIF, we've got AV, HDMI, Ethernet, and your charging port there as well, and a pretty nice design. The most important thing are, of course, the specs. So we'll look at the specs. We've got Rockchip 3328 quad-core 64-bit Cortex A53. Not ideal. It's not the best processor you're going to get on an Android TV box. It does, however, have 4 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, so that is pretty impressive, and it runs Android 7.1. I will also flash up the homepage and what comes with it right now, as well as a benchmark test for this, so you'll know exactly what you're going to be getting. The best thing about it is, of course, that it comes free with a Bluetooth keyboard if you use the link in the video description below, and it retails, like I said, for around $60 US for the two, and I think that is pretty impressive, and it means you don't have to shell out on a Bluetooth remote. Really, really comfy in the hand. Backlit as well. You've got your mouse button there, you've got your D-pad and your OK, you've got your left and right click mouse here as well, volume up and down, skip forward, back and play and pause, and of course your trackpad here. Right, so moving on, we are going to go with now this one here, which is the Smartisan Nut 2 Pro, and this is one that I've been trying to get a review out for this for months, because I've had it and it's not in there. Well, that's embarrassing. Where on earth have I put it? I'll do the rest and then I'll try and find it and I'll see if I can get that in for you. Right, so as we've skipped a smartphone, we'll do another smartphone, and this is the Elephone S8. Now, it's not a new phone, don't get me wrong. It was out in 2017. The Elephone U Pro has actually been out since, which was kind of like the next step up from this. But it was a very, very popular phone, one of the fastest selling phones for this bezel-less sort of design, and that's simply due to performance. Outside of the actual Xiaomi Mi Mix line, it was probably the best performing mix variety that there was of 2017. So if you are looking for a smartphone that has this bezel-less display, camera on the bottom is always a no for me, but If you're not massively into selfies or don't mind turning it upside down to take it, this benchmarks at around 77,000 there or thereabouts, I believe, last time I actually checked. So a really strong performing product in this price range, and you will struggle to get a better phone for this design. I have done a review on the Elephone U Pro, which I'll leave linked here if you are interested in going for the sort of 2018 flagship of Elephone. But if you want the cheaper 2017 variant, then like I mentioned, this is a really, really solid phone. Right, next up, we're going to go with an 4K action camera from U.S.A, which is, of course, under the umbrella of Xiaomi. Now, really, I should be using a knife, but for some reason, even though I do lots of unboxings, I've still failed to buy an unboxing knife. Right, next up, we have, like I mentioned, this action camera. And I've actually reviewed the bigger brother of this, so the more expensive version. But this one comes in at around 99 US dollars, I think. Don't quote me on that. Like I said, I will leave it linked below. But it is definitely cheaper than the one that I have already reviewed. And inside the box comes with your manual. You've of course got your battery, your charging cable, and then we'll just pop the actual camera out. So that is the camera here. So you've got your shutter button there. On the side, you've got your micro SD card slot and your charging port there. So 4K at 20 frames a second is its maximum, whereas the actual one I reviewed here is 4K at 60 frames a second. So that is one of the major differences you're getting than its more expensive brother or sister. So it's got a 2-inch LCD screen, like I said, 4K at 20 frames a second. It's an 8 megapixel sensor and it has Wi-Fi support. You can, of course, use an app as well in order to take photos, record videos, etc. I will try and get some footage for this as well, which I'll add if possible. Definitely a product that you might want to look at if you're in the market for a budget action camera. It's a decent brand. U.S.A makes some really, really good cameras. So next up, we're going to go with this Android tablet, and it's called the ALDACube X1. Strange name for a tablet. And one of the main selling points is the fact that it's an 8.4-inch Magic Color 2.5K touchscreen. So of course the resolution is absolutely amazing. The responsiveness is pretty decent as well in terms of going through. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM, so in terms of multitasking, you're not going to have any problems. 4,500 milliamp battery, 64 gigabytes of storage. These are all, promising features. In terms of the OS, we are talking about Android 7.1.1. CPU is the MTK 6797, and the GPU is a Mali T880 MP4. Now these specs are all pretty good on paper. In normal everyday use, in terms of media streaming and things like that, you're not going to have any problems. There is one issue that I see, and that's the screen brightness. I would prefer to see a brighter screen. It's not a terrible screen by any means. The viewing angles are pretty decent. It's just a little bit duller than I would hope for. Very portable, being the sort of 8.4 inches. The bezels are slightly larger than I would want again, but it's not the end of the world. The sound quality isn't the best, but it's not the worst. It's a good all-round average tablet for most of the areas. And of course, it has that really rich resolution on the screen, if a little bit on the dark side. And the price of this is somewhere around 250 US dollars. So it's not the cheapest, but if you're looking for a really sharp screen, like I said, in a small, compact product, then this might be for you. And before I go and get the Smartisan Nut 2 Pro, which is in the other room, this phone on the table now is one that I have never reviewed, and it is one of the most impressive mid-tier phones of 2017. Is it still acceptable to use in 2018? If you get the global version, the international version, it's really an amazingly snappy phone. It is, of course, the Xiaomi Note 3. The speed of it using the Snapdragon 660 is phenomenal. Like, it's one of the quickest, there's no lag whatsoever. It's just so fluid to use. Design quality, can't fault it. Dual rear camera on the back. Lovely little Mi logo there. Black and silver, just looks very elegant. Fingerprint magnet for sure, but it just feels so premium in the hand. It's got a wonderful weight to it, similar to the Xiaomi Mi 6, to be honest, and the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2S as well. Yes, it hasn't got the 18:9 ratio. It's the 16:9 ratio, the sort of before the wave of bezel-less phones. If you don't need the 18:9, you don't need the bezel-less, then this is one of the best phones you can possibly get on the market if you want to shave off 200-300 quid from those top flagship phones. Camera is one of its big selling points as well. 4K footage, the actual photo quality is really, really solid as well, and better than a lot of the mid-tier and budget phones out there by far. I found it. I found the Smartisan Nut Pro, and look at how beautiful that looks. Very, very nice. It is one of the best products in and around the mid-tier range of phones for most things, but there's one key issue which is a bit of a big flaw for me. I mean, look at the... Let me just clean that. Look at that. How nice does that look with the accent? Look, that's the fingerprint sensor there, and it's got the logo in it. I think that looks brilliant. I think other companies could take note from that and not just have a boring plain fingerprint sensor. You could actually incorporate the logo. Great. The actual fingerprint sensor works really nicely. Works pretty much flawlessly every time, and it's quite a wide space as well, so you're gonna hit it every time. One camera, not a dual camera, which seems to be a very popular thing with smartphone manufacturers. The camera does a pretty decent job. Snapdragon 660, so it is a really high-end Snapdragon processor. Outside of the 800 series, it is one of the best processors on the market. And Type-C charge as well, another positive. Now, it does use its own skin over the top of Android, which has a few quirks, like if you were to pull down from the top right-hand corner, for example, it opens up more options, which I think is a pretty nice feature, but it has one big flaw. This individual product has been flashed with a sort of Google global ROM, and not the Chinese ROM that comes standard with the phone. I don't believe Smartisan have actually included a global version, so some of the companies selling this will be putting their own ROM on it in order to sort of sell it to a Western market, and as a result, there's a few issues with updates. So Smartisan sent a notification through saying it's ready to be updated, and it gets through and then fails. And that to me is a pretty massive flaw. I can't personally get past that. If you can get past it and you're happy with it being up to date now and you don't want it for sort of 2, 3, 4 years time, then, which a lot of phones don't anyway, most phones tend to have a 1 or 2 maximum sort of update shelf life. If you don't need the update shelf life and you're happy with how it looks and the really snappy performance using that Snapdragon 660, then yes, go and get the Smartisan Nut 2 Pro. Right, so as this video is already taking up far too much of your time, what I've decided to do is split this video. In fact, I'll do this kind of as an ongoing series that when I get products, if I can't get them into a review as soon as they come through, I will do them kind of in a bit of a haul video. All the links to all of the products will be left in the video description below if you are interested. Like and share if you did enjoy this video and found it helpful. Subscribe and hit that little notification bell if you love everything tech. Daily content on this channel. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Say ASBYT. Peace out.